So here we have my garden shed. It is not anything to do with my husband. It's mine, my secret place. I'll just show you inside. Come with me. So, what we have is the woman's best friend in here. We've got all of our pots, which are recycled from plants that we planted last year and washed out and cleaned. We've got a fantastic potting up area. We've got compost, we've got peat moss, we've got potting soil, and all of the tools of the trade are here. So I'm very proud of my garden shed. It's my favorite space in the whole garden. But don't tell anybody that I let you see it. Okay? It's just our secret. Okay, so what we did for our composting system is we just use pellets, which lots of people do. Pellets are usually free, and we just stacked them up and put them together somehow. Put a piece of tin on the back of my garden shed so as the wood wouldn't rot when the composting is happening. We throw all of our kitchen refuse, all of our garden waste, now and then a shovel full of soil. Lots of dry matter like leaves or straw or dried weeds or plants go in there as well, and we do water it and turn it and keep these systems going. And here we have some twigs that we collected from some bushes that we pruned out, and they'll get shredded eventually and chopped up into finer pieces so that they can be used in the composting as well. Okay, so over here, another part of the backyard, we have another vegetable garden, which has a bit more shade, so we can grow some different things in here, especially for spinaches and things that you don't want to bolt too soon. It would be appropriate in this garden. We have asparagus, which is a perennial crop, and at the end of the season we harvested it hard for about a year, and then at the end of the season we let the ferns grow, which puts more nutrient and energy back into the root zone for next year. We have 3 different varieties of potatoes in here, and we have a Jerusalem artichoke here, which is a fantastic root crop, and we'll save some of the rhizomes from that and plant them next year. We have 2 different varieties of beets here, and they're doing really well. Even though there's been a frost, everything got a little bit hit, but it's not too bad. We have flowers interspersed here. And here's the lovely Queen Anne's lace I was telling you about, which is a good predator insect attracting plant, and as well it's really beautiful, so it's worth having in the garden. We also have some onions and some smelly herbs around which help to confuse the insects. We haven't had too much insect damage here, which has been fantastic this year. We've let a few things, lettuces and that, go to seed so that they will self-seed, and next year we won't have to replant so much. And along the fence here, at the moment, previous owners planted a few spruce trees, and we'll be removing those and planting them elsewhere, and then probably growing more fruit trees in that area. And we could also include espalier fruit, so using just that two-dimensional space and stretching out the trees to grow on a vertical. There. Here we have some compost that we've just dumped down here, beautiful black compost, and just waiting for when all of vegetables have been taken out of the beds at the end of this season, and then we're going to amend the soil by adding compost and more cow manure and possibly in some areas growing some green manure crops like fall rye here to amend the soil and to always continue to build the soil. Okay, just up here we have another use of vertical space, which is a little trellis that I built out of poplar and birch. And next year we'll probably get some hops or something growing up there just to use that vertical space. This is a west-facing wall, and in the summer it's very hot here and dry. We've got gooseberry and a few other tall plants here that will help shade the windows from the afternoon sun. So we're trying to use plants to help create the right microclimates for what we want. Here's our veranda, which we love very much, and we always have our morning cup of teas out here and our afternoon teas and our evening meals and everything. We try to be out here as much as possible in the summer, and it's a beautiful space to observe what's going on in the garden. So, and the last part of the garden is this little strip here. Here's an example of a fine chokecherry tree. We have a few of them along the fence here, on the other side of the property, and over on the back of the house. And they make these astringent, tart little berries in clusters. And what we did is we harvested a whole bunch of these. We got many, many pounds off these trees. And the robins also had many pounds off these trees, which is fine. And we made jam and jelly out of them, kind of a nice syrup, and jelly. And it's the most divine thing on pancakes. So I highly recommend choke cherries. It's a native to Canada and very hardy in this climate, so it's a great fruit for our northern climes here. We also have a willow that we could use if we wanted for weaving. It's very flexible. It would make a nice, you could make some nice baskets or something from willow. Also, they produce the first flowers in spring often, so it's great for your pollinators when they really need something in the early spring before other things are out in bloom. And then over in this area here we have our food, what is the beginning of our food forest. So we have an apple here, which is still has a few apples on it. We have another apple over here, which still has a few apples on it, and flowers and herbs. And what we're trying to do in this area is to get more shrubby berry plants like honeyberry, blueberry, gooseberry, cranberries growing in this area. And there's lots of herbs and flowers started as well. So here's a nice cranberry with a bit of fruit on it. So that can dry right on the plant, or we might pick it and dry it, and this can go in our cereal in the winter months. And again, we're just starting to revamp this area. There's a Saskatoon over there, there's a cherry tree, a couple more apples that we've planted, and one day this will be mature, and on the tallest trees will be the apples and the cherries, and then the other berry bushes will be underneath, and then the herbaceous layer underneath that. So we hope to make a multi-story food forest in this little patch of the garden. And that brings us back to the front and the raised beds. So there's the tour. So here we are downstairs, and we have some of our produce and some of our preserves that we've made already this year. We went to BC on our holidays and we brought back some fruit. So we have a lot of pears that we've canned here, and also peaches for the winter months. And from Olds we've picked a lot of apples, and we made it a lot of applesauce already, but we have more apples. And we will be processing, freezing some of those and making more applesauce. Here we had 40 pounds of tomatoes, so we've canned all of that. Nice organic tomatoes. And we've made our own dill pickles from our cucumbers. Here's the choke cherry jelly and syrup that I was talking about. We have some pumpkins there, and here's some of our first potatoes that we've pulled out. We've grown, I think, 4 varieties of potatoes this year, hopefully more next year. Nice big turnip from the garden, and some beets that we have here, just keeping them in cold storage down here. We have a bit of space under the basement that is just dirt, where the wall has been taken away, and we'll probably turn that into our inbuilt root cellar in the bottom of our basement here, because it's easily accessible. It's very cool down here, but things won't freeze because the furnace is down here. So it's an ideal space for storing all of our root vegetables, and even apples will last a long time down here like this. So there you go. There's some of the food.